Welcome back to another exciting episode of Level Up and Live. Today, we have a special guest who wears many hats. Entrepreneur, dad, husband, and a true crypto guru. Get ready because this episode is not just good, it's pure gold. He's a man with a wealth of experience and insights. Someone who's mastered the art of balancing family life, entrepreneurial pursuits, and navigating the dynamic world of cryptocurrency. So buckle up for a ride that's bound to be etched in the history books of our podcast. Without further ado, let's dive into the wisdom and experiences of the one and only NATO Guajardo. With us today, we've got NATO Guajardo. Super grateful, super thankful that he's going to be spending the next 40 to 45 minutes with us. So if you're listening, I can assure you this is probably going to be one of the best episodes that you've heard this far. This guy, he doesn't know this, but I've always looked up to him as a mentor behind the scenes. Every time I've seen him in person, I've always brought a lot of energy. And this guy is super chill, super poised, super humble, and very grounded. So he even said it behind the scenes. You guys have a lot of energy right now, and we're all on caffeine, but without further ado, meet NATO. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah, thanks for being on the show, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. So NATO, man, I know a little bit about you. I've known what you've done. You've taken action. You post consistently on social media, which is a beautiful thing, man. You have been on this journey, right? So you were born, and here you are today. And just for the sake of time, I know we could probably spend the next 6 hours learning about your journey. But for our listeners and audience, tell us a little bit about who NATO is and what that journey has looked like.
Yeah, man. I won't bore you guys with like childhood or anything like that. But born in Houston, and very late start in like what people would say success or whatever. Late start in business, like very late. I think I started my first business when I was 39 years old. So very late. And so real quick, I was in after high school, went to the military, did the military thing for 8 years. I thought I was going to be an IT guy. I got out of the military right after 9/11, came to Houston, Enron failed. Guys that were making $100,000, $200,000 in IT were now fighting for $12 an hour jobs. I thought I was going to get out and make 100,000. I was a Microsoft engineer. I was Cisco certified. I was literally everything. And I was making $10, $12 an hour. So I'm like, damn, I don't know if this is going to work. But I still stuck with it because it was like literally the only thing I knew how to do was IT stuff. And I wasn't actually that great at it. And I didn't like it. I just did it because I thought that was going to be the thing that made me money. So I did that for a while until I started, ended up getting a divorce, and that literally probably changed everything. I believe that, man, I don't know, if you talk to real successful people, you'll notice that they've been through the most things, right? Usually the more successful they are, the more stuff the more stuff they've been through, right? So I think the getting a divorce, hitting rock bottom, literally divorced, probably the brokest I've ever been, the worst credit I ever had, the least money I ever had, the heaviest I always was. Literally, dude, everything the worst, right?
How old were you, NATO?
I was at that time 32. So
32.
Early 30s, maybe mid 30s. I was at that point. So probably the worst situation you can be in, right? I mean, you just got a divorce. You don't have any money. You're overweight. Like literally no girl is going to freaking want to talk to me. So, man, I went on a journey of just like self-development. And it started with reading books, and it just went up from there. Just started improving myself. And that's how I got into sales. It's weird. Like a lot of salespeople I don't know what it is about salespeople and self-improvement. It's just like goes hand in hand. I think in sales, you're just always trying to better yourself. So self-improvement got me into sales. Sales got me into insurance. Insurance got me into starting my first business. So that's my little 5 minutes of where I came from.
What was the first book you read?
First book was the one that everyone reads, Think and Grow Rich. The one everyone reads.
It's such a good book. It's, how old is it now? It's like, what, 80? I don't know if it's 70, 80 years old or something. And it's still true today as it was back then.
It's a really good book. Now, obviously, after reading a lot of books, you're like, all right, well, this one's better than this one, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's a great book to start with.
Sure. That moment when you're 32 and so you're overweight, you're broke, and you've gone through an emotional, difficult time on the divorce, and you said, it sounded like you pulled your socks up and you said, okay, I'm going to change this. What was that conversation like? What was the thought process? And did you have a vision of, was it like, no more, I'm going to go be this person? Or was it still you and you just was a healthier version?
I always remember, like, my mom used to say, like, hey, if something happens to you, take 5 minutes, cry it out, and then after 5 minutes, get up and do your thing, right? So there was a period of time where, like, oh, I felt bad for myself, felt sorry for myself, and I'm like, bro, this is getting nowhere. Literally, like, this is not going to get me to what I want, and just told myself, like, what are you going to do? And I just started by reading books, man. And it just escalated from there. Reading books, journaling, all the normal things, visualizing and stuff like that really, really did help. And I mean, I didn't see any progress for a long time. And it's kind of like working out, right? You'll go 6 months, nobody will notice anything. Then you go a year, and then maybe some people will notice some things. But then you keep doing that for years and years and years, and like, damn, this guy's a different person. People that knew me 10 years ago, bro, I'm totally different person now.
Yeah, I think most people, they don't see the results like the gym and they stop going. Self-development's the same thing. They read a book or two and it didn't work, so they stop reading and then me and Sean have been talking about this a lot. They go into this existing mode. You look in the mirror and you're overweight and you're like, well, you didn't sign up to be overweight. You didn't plan on being that, but you are. Your bank account's drained or you're in debt. You didn't plan. No one planned that. So you must have been somewhere mentally. You must have been existing and not paying attention because it's not what you signed up for. And then the reverse of that is living, paying attention, being purposeful, and then going after it. For you, when you were doing all this, was there a vision in your mind of who you were going to be by doing these things, or was it just a one day after the next type thing?
Dude, that's a good question, because I was about to say this. I always carry a journal. I always like write stuff down. And at that time I was reading a book. Man, I don't remember the book. Jesus, I have all these books in the back. You see them? I don't remember this exact book. Oh my God. I have the guy's face in my head. But in the book, there was a section where you wanted to write out your dream life, right? So I did that part. It took me maybe an hour or so. And then I wrote, and then it said, the next chapter was like, all right, now you need to write out your dream spouse or your dream mate, right? I literally skipped that chapter. I'm like, I'm not looking. I just got a divorce, right? I literally just got a divorce. I do not want another partner. Maybe not, not long term. I don't want that. Skip the chapter. Went to the next one. The first thing in the chapter is like, did you write down? Did you do what you said in the last chapter? I went back and I wrote down every single thing that I wanted from a woman, right? I'm talking about like how she looks, how she acts, blah, blah, blah. I wrote it down, and an hour and a half later, I'm still writing stuff down about this woman that I want to meet.
Wow.
Forgot all about that. But I'm like, in order to meet this woman, I need to be those things too, right? I need to be in shape. I need to have my stuff together. So there's no way I'm going to meet this woman if I am the person I am right now. There's no way. That woman will just walk right past me, not even notice me, right? And then now being married, I told my wife, I'm like, when we got married, I'm like, I literally wrote you down on a piece of paper, every single thing. And she's literally everything that was on that piece of paper. So, but this is like, this took 5 years, man. Like, and you said about working out, like, imagine working out for 5 years and nothing happens, But that's a true story there.
I love that, man. I can resonate with that so much because I've done the same things. And I don't know about your friends and your community, NATO, but like my friends, we've joked about it in the past. Like, I carry a sheet with me everywhere I go, a bullet journal, a sheet, and I call it the weekly design. And I literally have it in front of my face. everywhere I go. And so, because if it's out of mind, out of sight, and I did something very similar when I met Kendra, my wife, been with her 13 years, married for 7. Me and him sat down at Wolfie's in Conroe, Texas. And this was kind of when I was 24, 25, didn't really want to settle down. And you would ask me about Kendra's like, hey, what is it about this girl? Like, why don't you see yourself with her? And that kind of sparked, a time in my life where it's like, you know what? That's a great question. I never had anybody questioning or asking me. I always respected you, and so it slowed me down enough to do that. So I started doing research. I started getting curious. I started asking who, not how. And so I remember talking to my mom. She's like, one of the things that I heard somebody do, I don't know if it was on a show that she was watching or a counselor, but she's like, create a checklist, put 5 things on there that you want in a woman. And so I wrote these things down, and I was like, one of them was self or independent. One of them was beautiful, and I had 3 of these other things. And then I was like, wait a minute, what you and saying, what Mom's saying, like Kendra checks all these things off, beautiful and independent, sometimes too much independent. And so the rest is history, man. So it's that manifestation, it's that visualization. And we preach this all the time on Level Up and Live. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So think about if you can visualize and manifest that. And I know you, Nato, have done this in other areas of your life, right? You've got a beautiful child. You've got multiple businesses. You're in cryptocurrency. So do you manifest and visualize these businesses and what you've done up until this point in your journey contribute to that?
Yeah, man, I think there's a power for some reason. I don't know what it is about the power of writing things down. For me, like a lot of things that I write down, I look back, I'm like, man, I literally wrote this down like freaking 3-4 years ago. And another thing kind of similar to my wife is the house we live in now, right? We used to live in a neighborhood like couple neighborhoods down, and I used to pass by this neighborhood every time. I'm like, man, I like those houses there. I really wish I could live there one day. And then one day I just looked on HAR, one of the houses in the neighborhood. I printed it out. I'm like, this is the house I want. Totally forgot about it. Like 2 years later, we moved into the house, and actually, if I open up my windows, I can look at the house that I put the picture on. It's not the actual house because I don't think that one was for sale, but it's a house like catty corner, bro. Like I can see it from where I'm at right now. And it's crazy, man. I don't know what it is about the power of writing things down and visualizing, and then obviously putting action into place to get there. You can't just write something down, visualize, and just sit on your couch like, all right, this is going to happen in a couple of years. You got to have a plan to get there, right? But yeah, man, that's happened a couple of times, and my family, like, some people think I'm weird with things like that. Not anymore because stuff's starting to happen. And I always tell my family, I joke with them like, oh, what do you guys want to do in 2 years? Okay, let me write it down. It's going to happen. So, yeah, man.
Does it work when you write it down for other people? Does it work? I would never asked. I've never thought about that.
It's usually for like vacations and stuff. Like every year we take a family vacation. Like where you guys want to go? Like think something big for vacation for 2 years, and that's where we'll go. I don't know if that's happened yet.
I'm going to give you a long list of things to write down for me, and I'm just going to wait for my happen, man. That'd be great.
Hey, man, let us know.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I think it's because it's very intangible to write something down. People are like that. How there's no correlation between writing something down and getting this impossible thing, but it is the process. It would have to be important enough to write down if you're ever going to get it. If you can't even bother to write it down, then what's the chances? It really is just a 50-50 or whatever the percentage is. But yeah, there's definitely something to write it down. What would you tell yourself, like, when you're 32, what would you tell yourself then, or maybe right before, maybe at 30, what kind of conversation would you have with that guy? Part of this podcast was we didn't have people there for us when we were 30. We had to figure a lot of things out ourselves. We often think about, man, if we were who we are now there for us then, we would be 10 times farther, 10 times quicker. What would you say to your 30-year-old version?
Well, first of all, nobody's coming to save you, man. Like literally nobody's going to save you. And I This is so weird too. And when I was 32, got divorced, and then I got in a little bit of good shape. I was feeling myself. I started going out a lot, like literally 3 to 4 times a week. That was my thing, going out, because my sole focus was was directed to something else. Which, by the way, vices, dude, eliminate vices eliminate as many vices as you can, because those are going to bring you down when you're trying to go for your goal. They will. They're just going to drag you down.
You
It's
said
kind of
vices, NATO?
vices.
What do you mean by vices?
So vices like drinking too much, alcohol, if you're into drugs, whatever. For me, vices was like going out and women. Like, for some reason, I guess it was because I don't know what it was, but I just wanted as many women as possible for whatever reason. But that alone, bro, is like any vice it's just like is dragging you down. And it wasn't until really I focused on one woman that I really started making money. I don't know what it is. All my attention was on her, and then I could focus on just business, versus trying to focus on too many people, and just took a lot of time. So one of the first things what I would say is like, nobody's coming to save you. Literally, nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to come to you and be like, hey man, I got this perfect job for you. Or a woman's not going to be like, come, you have to go and get it. And you got to create the person that is able to get that stuff. So number one, nobody's going to come save you. And the thing is, the friends that I used to have when I used to go out versus the friends I have now, it's literally totally opposite. I didn't know one business person, not one person that owned a business 10 years ago. Now I realized every person that we go out to dinner with or hang out with owns a business. It's not that I'm only friends with people that own a business. Like, oh, I can't be friends with you. It's just naturally that way. And everyone is married. Like 95% of the people that I hang out with are just married and own a business. It just happens that way. So that's the second thing I wanted to say is the people you hang around with is literally who you are, man. It's really important. And I have a 4-year-old son. I'm really going to watch the people he hangs around with. And that's another reason why I'm going to be actively putting him in different things like, sports. He's really, right now he's only 4, but he's in jiu-jitsu. Like, because that's the kids he's going to naturally he's going to hang around with.
I remember asking a guy at church, I asked him, he was a little older than me. His son was 14, and his son was playing soccer at a high level. And I grew up playing soccer, and I have a son and a daughter. They're 8 and 10. And I would like for them, I'll never push my kids to do something they don't want to do. I don't need to live vicariously through them. But I remember I was like, how did you get him into soccer? How does he love it so much? Because it would be cool if my son did or my daughter did. And he's like, I know nothing about soccer, man. I've never watched it. Don't play it. Don't even really like it. And he said the reason he plays is because his friends play. And I was like, it was a very enlightening moment, because that's not just true in sport. It's true with anything. Just like you said, whoever you hang around with, that's pretty much how you're gonna end up. That's just a fact. It's a universal fact. So it's definitely rings true.
When you hang around these other individuals, and I resonate with what you're saying on that, and so you get to a certain degree where like, okay, you've put in all the work behind the scenes, you've worked on becoming the best version of yourself, personal development, and so have your friends, and you've attracted, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, you've probably attracted those people into your life, right? Who you've wanted to surround yourself with. And like where you are today in your mindset. So quick question. Have you seen the movie The Matrix with Keanu Reeves?
Mm-hmm.
The one, right? So do you consider yourself the one in your family where they all look up to you to like do good, show them the road, show them the map?
Yeah, but you know what? I decided to be the one. I told myself I'm going to be the one in my family to make the change, and hopefully people follow that. I made that decision like pretty much when I first started my first business. Like, I'm going to be the one to change my whole direction of my family tree. And because of that, I have to be the best version of myself. And that's why I'm always improving. But yeah.
So, and I'm curious on how you showing up the best version of yourself, surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals, and putting yourself in those environments. But then you have some family members that you give them the blueprint, you give them exactly what they asked for, but they don't take action. Why?
This is my theory on this, and because that's absolutely true. Like, sometimes I get frustrated, but like, look, man, you have a person next to you that literally went from nothing to something, and all you have to do is follow that blueprint, and you'll get there. And it frustrates me, like, why don't you ask me questions? Why? Like, I don't give unsolicited advice anymore. Like, I really don't, because it's never taken well. I always wait for somebody to ask me questions, right? And then I will freely give. Dude, if you ask me one question, I will freaking dump it on you. But if you don't ask me anything, I'm not going to say anything. So to answer your question, man, why do I think that people don't succeed? Is I honestly don't think they believe that they can do it. And the reason why I don't think they believe they can do it is because they know in the back of their head they don't want to put in the effort to do that. And I'm going to just say something about confidence. For me, when I have low self-esteem, low confidence is when I promise something to myself and I don't do it. When that happens, my confidence goes down. But when I make a plan and I say, hey, Nato, you're going to do this, this, and that, and I do it, my confidence goes up. Even if the result isn't the greatest, because I just accomplished what I promised myself, my confidence starts going up. And when your confidence starts going up, good things start to happen.
Man, that right there is huge. I think that is spot on for pretty much everybody, but only the few can hold themselves accountable to that. Like, what's the formula there? Is that how do you end up following through on that? Because it's a difficult thing. People end up backing off when it gets hard or tough, and they don't have that identity yet, and so they're scared and they just go back in existing mode. What would you say? How do you do that? How did you do it?
I'm gonna just say for me, because everybody's different. I remember when I used to write goals down for myself, right? I would write down goals for myself, and a lot of times I wouldn't go follow through with those goals for whatever reason, right? But when I started writing goals that involved other people, like my wife, my kid, my mom, my brother, I will freaking work and run through a freaking brick wall for somebody else before I write it for myself. So I noticed that about myself. Like, I will work harder for somebody else because I hate disappointing people. So when I write down my goals, it has to involve somebody else. Like, this goal is going to involve this person. And if I don't fulfill it, this person's not going to get whatever, or it's going to disappoint this person. When I started doing that, like, I would work a lot harder towards that goal. That's for me. Wow. Everybody's different.
You know, I've tried to attach goals to, like, oh, I'll do this for my kids or do it for my wife, and it hasn't always resonated. I always know I'm going to be the best version of myself for them. That's what I work towards. But as far as like doing something as a catalyst in my head, it's not often worked. But we were just discussing earlier, like writing things down and then it happening. I think that could work, man. I think it could work for a lot of people. You know, you said for you, but I think a lot of people keep it in their heads. The average person doesn't write things down. We're talking about people who do end up getting journaling. And so, yeah, writing the people down, making it real on paper, man, that's some solid advice to at least try. If people are out there listening to this and they haven't tried that yet, that could be a game changer. Because I'm hearing that and I'm like, I could see that being something that works for people.
Yeah, it's different. It is different for everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the accountability, one of the things that I heard you say, Nato, was the accountability for yourself. And then also to a certain degree, like, I look at it as 3 levels of accountability. So you have your accountability to yourself, your accountability like a partner, like you and I are accountability. I know you've had partners in business, so you level each other up, right? There's that sense of accountability, that responsibility. And then the third thing is accountability to the community. So you've got all 3, right? And with that, we need more guys like that. We need more leaders like that. And typically, if people are listening to this, right, they want to level up and live. And in those 3 levels, if you can find yourself holding yourself accountable, figuring out ways to do that, finding a accountability partner, somebody that you can run with, iron sharpens iron, and then accountability, whether it's a business or your community, you're, leading a church, whatever it may be, there's a sense of accountability. And so I always look at it, and I always have it. I've even written these things down in my journal, the 3 different levels of accountability, because out of mind, out of sight. And that's the way I kind of look at things. If it's not in front of me, whether it's a journal, because I would have never, if you would ask me 5 years ago, writing in a journal, writing on, weekly design, I'd have been like, I don't need that. right? I would have let my pride and ego get to me, and I would have been stuck, unfulfilled, existing in the rat race, and not gotten to where I am today. So I understand that, hey, that accountability is powerful, but also those different levels of accountability.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. To switch gears, and it ties in. So you decided to change. You got into sales, and you started your business. Was that the insurance business?
Yeah.
You started, and then Sean has told me since then you sold it. Can you kind of take us through that journey a little bit? Because a lot of listeners, business owners, sales folk, people trying to work on themselves. What's kind of the background?
Yeah. So sales got me into. I had a buddy of mine I was working with. He ended up working at one of the big insurance companies where you're basically like a salesperson, but making good money. It was kind of like the Wolf of Wall Street, bro. He like, and you know my buddy Ryan. He sent me a screenshot of his bonus, and I was at the other company that he left me on, and he's like, "Look, bro, look what I made this month or whatever." I'm like, I literally applied that same day and ended up getting the job
awesome.
a month later, and that's what got me into the insurance business. Started as a sales guy, mediocre, by the way, like literally. Like not good at all. In my office, we had some killers, and a lot of the people, Sean. Like in my office was Brandon Ritchie, Ryan Guillory. My wife was a killer. Me, me, in the middle, maybe even below the middle, bro. Like literally,
you were all in the same brand, the same place.
Yeah, man. There's a lot. That office was like,
wow,
a lot of. I think about 75% of that office ended up creating their own insurance agency eventually.
I was gonna say, whoever the agent was, who put that together? Who put that team together?
So it wasn't actually an agency. It was actually it was Liberty Mutual. Okay, so you're just a salesperson in an office.
Yes,
and our office was in Kingwood. But that office has some. I'm telling you, man, these guys were so good. I was intimidated by these guys when I first got there because they were so good, and I was like down here. And I didn't do that well, which is kind of funny because when I got fired from that job, because they were doing cuts, I would think I was one of the first ones. I was one of the first ones to get fired. When I got fired, first of all, the week I got fired, I took money out of my 401k to buy my wife an engagement ring. She didn't even know about it. That Tuesday, and then I get fired that Friday. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I literally just took money from my 401k to marry this woman, right? The woman that I wrote down all this stuff on, right? So yeah, I get fired, and she didn't even ask me what I'm gonna do. I told her, I'm like, look, I'm gonna start my own agency. She didn't say one word. Like literally, I'm like, below average at this agency, and she's like, you're going to start an agency? She didn't say anything, but but in my head, I'm like, yeah, I got to do this, man. I have no freaking choice. So took out the remaining of my 401k. I have no savings anymore. Like no investment, which wasn't that much. It wasn't like I was saving a long time because remember, I got a divorce. I had lost that money before, so I had to start all over. So I used that money to start my agency. The first 6 months were not great. Like literally struggling to quote people. You start with family and friends first. And luckily I have good friends and family. Like they trusted in me. And my mom was my first client. My brother was my second client. And then
one at a time.
One at a time. But then I realized I was looking back at what we're doing at Liberty Mutual, which was we bought a lot of leads, right? We that was the one thing we did. And sometimes they did well, sometimes they didn't. So I told myself, if I figure out how to generate my own leads, figure out what these guys are doing, I don't need anyone. I literally can just depend on myself, which is one thing I hate depending on other people. It's like literally, I hate asking for help. I hate depending on other people. So I went on a journey on how to generate my own leads. That lasted about 6 months of spending pretty much the rest of my money traveling, and trying to learn how to generate my own leads. Long story short, I figured it out, learned how to generate my own leads. That's what skyrocketed my insurance agency. I told my wife, hey, join me. I can't pay you anything. I know you're making 6 figures. I can't pay you anything. There's no benefits, but just come and help me because I need help. I have too many leads coming in. And she did.
Wow.
And that's how I grew my agency. Is like I learned how to generate my own leads. I learned how to generate leads for other people. One of my big strategies was mortgage people, how to generate leads for them so they can, in return, send me business. And actually, that is what led me to start my other businesses, which was a training program for insurance agents, and then later on software and things like that. So,
and Nato, so you were a solo operator, right, or entrepreneur, and a lot of our listeners and audience, they're doing things on their own. They're trying to do everything. Everything's on their back, right? And not just business, but also personal. You are a big systems guy and people, right? What was the transition from Liberty Mutual to opening up your own insurance business? And at what point did you learn I've got to start systematizing and hiring the right people in business to get you to where you want to go?
So one thing about me that's negative and also positive is that I'm naturally like a lazy person. Like I literally will put things off on other people. And so I'm like, how can I put this on somebody else so they can do it? And there's a great book that I just read. Oh my God, this book is so good. It's by Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. Oh, hold on.
Heard of that book.
Yeah, Buy Back Your Time. So it's basically how to buy back your time, man, which is literally what you want to be doing when you start making money is you want to be buying back as much time as possible and start doing the things that you really enjoy. Because when you start doing the things that you really enjoy, that's what's going to skyrocket what you do, because now you're in like your zone of genius. You're really doing what you really want to do. So back to that. When you're first starting, you probably can't afford to hire anyone. You have to do everything yourself. So what you want to do is you're going to be doing everything yourself in the beginning. But once you start making some money, write down the things that you do on a daily basis and what you can maybe put off to somebody else, or the things that you do not like. I'll give you an example so that way somebody out there can like, okay, well, what are you talking about? In insurance, I'm just going to talk specifically insurance because that's what I know. I hated customer service. I hated paperwork. So when you sell an insurance policy, you have to get them to sign the application and things like that. I really did not like it. I'm literally a true salesman. I want to sell something, get it out of the way. Let me go on to my next sell. That's what I like to do. That's it. I don't like to do any paperwork.
Man, you're speaking my language, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm in medical equipment sales. That is me, man. Give me the hunt and the close and help somebody and make their day, like make their business work and they feel great and you build a great relationship. You ask me to log a call, you're gonna see a dead man walking. It's just like I'm out. Like it's so hard for me.
Yeah, man. And I'm the same way. I just want to go after the sale, help the person out. That makes me feel real good. Yes, I helped this guy out. Yeah. But I don't want to deal with the paperwork afterwards. Let me help the next person, right?
Yes.
So what you want to do is write down everything you do on a daily basis, the stuff that you do not like, and the things that you're not good at. Maybe eventually, when you start making more money, that's going to be your first hire. Those are the things you put. When you try to hire someone, you got to put that's the stuff you put down.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Do you love customer service? Do you love paperwork? There's people that love that stuff. Literally, yeah. There's people that love it, bro. I don't understand them, but that's fine.
I don't get it. Yeah, it's wild.
That's okay.
Man.
We're all different, right? And you want to write down that stuff, and that's who your first hire is. It's gonna be that. Luckily for me, I had my wife. She doesn't mind customer service. She's an awesome salesperson, by the way, like better than me. But she's also good at. My wife is good at so many things. I'm only good at like 2 tops, maybe. But luckily I had her. But if I did not have her, because a lot of people might not have that spouse, is you're gonna have to hire. And here's what happens when you hire that stuff out. It gives you more time to go do the thing that you're really good at. For me, it was sales. So I made more sales. So I made more money. I can hire now more people. So you just keep doing the things that you're really good at because your money is going to skyrocket. A lot of people's fear is like, here's their fear in their head is like, if I hire this person, they're going to take a portion of my money. No, that's not the case. They're taking a certain thing off your plate so you can do more of the thing that you really like to do or the thing that you're really good at.
I remember this is, oh man, it was probably 10 years ago. And I was backing out of my driveway and the grass needed cut. Like you had those long little stem things sticking out. It was like a week and a half overdue. Every time I leave the driveway, I was in a negative state because I'm like, how is it not cut? And I was saving my money, trying to be smart with it. And I was like, I'm not paying someone for that. But it took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to cut my grass. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hire a guy to do it. And I remember the feeling, like this massive weight. It's just the grass. It was this massive weight came off. And very shortly after, my numbers were starting to go through the roof. Like it was just, and that's happened to me a few different times, different things. But I remember that grass, that having someone cut the yard specifically, paid someone else, got my time back. And it was like a miracle. I remember that vividly, and it taught me a lot. But yeah, what you're saying there, I can really resonate with that.
Yeah. So real quick, for just somebody out there, the book Buy Back Your Time, there's a formula in there that calculates your hourly wage, and then it gives you a formula like, don't quote me on this, but your hourly wage divided by 2, anything under that you should be outsourcing to somebody else.
I like that.
And
I need that book. I'm gonna get that.
Dude, it's so good because that's going to allow you to like have some kind of formula. So like, all right, because some people don't know. Well, like, all right, well, what do I outsource? When do I outsource? And that kind of tells you when to do it and what the number is.
It's funny because that formula, if it fits the formula and you have someone paying for that, well, then you get to go do the thing that you like to do. So you're probably going to end up making more. So then that formula, it has to bump it up. So you're going to end up being able to pay people more to do bigger, better things, which then allows you to go do more. That's a spiral up. That's really cool.
And you can also do this in your personal life. And I'll tell you some of the things I implement in my personal life. Obviously, cutting the grass. Like, first of all, I used to cut grass when I was young, and I used to cut it for neighbors. And I told myself already at 17, I will not cut my grass when I become an adult. I swear to God, I'm not cutting any. I'm not. And I never have. Even when I was broke, I should have, but I was not cutting my own grass.
I love it.
But one of the things is obviously that I outsourced a lot of things in my personal life. So one of the arguments me and my wife used to have was cleaning up. Like, dude, I'll get dressed, throw stuff. I need to get back to work. I'm always just wanting to go work, right? And I forget about everything. I'll leave a glass and it causes the biggest argument in the world because that's just how I am. And I don't even think about it. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just literally how I am. So we're like, all right, we're making a certain amount of money. Let's get somebody to help us clean the house. Dude, that eliminated so many arguments right there. Just implementing that. Not only that, but that allowed my wife hours to now help me in the business. So things like that, man, like really help out. And also like, we get Amazon delivered. Obviously everybody does that. We get groceries delivered. She actually still goes to Costco. I think she's at our Costco just right now. But things like that, man, eliminate when you start making money. Money does solve some problems. And dude, if you can eliminate arguments with money, freaking do it, man. It's like, it just really helps.
Why would we, if they could, an emotional relationship thing, man, we do it for money, like to get our business time back. But man, is it not even 10 times more important to have that relationship? If it can improve a relationship, man, that's huge, man. That's the most important thing in life is people.
For sure.
NATO, for somebody that's, so you've got all these, these things going on, systems, process, people, outsourcing for personal and business. For somebody that is in the trenches, right? They've got their sleeves rolled up. They're putting in the work. There's a lot of our listeners are in their upper 20s, 30s, even 40s. They have spread themselves very thin, right? They're very overwhelmed. They have 15 different things going on in their personal and business life. And that was me to a degree, but I'm a big believer in what I preach: focus on less, then obsess. I think you know a little bit about that. What would be one piece of advice for somebody that's got 15 different things going on? They're wearing 15 different hats. How can they get down to one or two different things, like what you said earlier, to focus on?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. So one of the things is, everybody probably knows about the 80-20 rule, right? Like sometimes you're probably doing something in your day to day that's literally it's not helping you at all in your business. So I would, okay, let's just say you're a busy person.
Explain the 80-20 rule just in case somebody doesn't know.
Basically what the 80-20 rule is says is 20% of your efforts make up for 80% of the results, right? And if you look at anything, it literally is that. So for example, like in a business, in your day to day, only 20% of what you're actually doing is representing like your 80% of what your income is, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is write down everything that you're doing on a daily basis, and what is not making you money, or what can you actually eliminate, and what is actually making you money, and do more of that. Put more of that on your schedule and less of the other stuff. And the thing is, when you're busy, like things like, mowing the yard, clean the house, that takes up a lot of time. Driving to work, driving an hour to work, driving an hour back, dude, that's the commute, dude. That'll kill you. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you have to get either maybe closer to where you work. I don't know, man. Like, you have to figure out your own schedule and try to eliminate some of that stuff. Are you watching Netflix for an hour or two a day? Like, what are you doing on a daily basis that's taking up your time? I guarantee anybody can go look at their schedule, even me, and get at least an hour or two extra.
100%.
Because you look at the version of yourself that does, and then the version of yourself that doesn't. You if you just imagine that for 2 minutes, like, man, that guy that's made those changes is going to be just crushing it compared to this guy. And that's what the opportunity that's lost. Yeah, man, that's really great advice, man. I love to hear that.
Shifting gears a little bit, as we wrap things up, what is your priority? What are you focusing on now? So I know we've talked about your journey. You've had struggles and ups and downs. Where are you at now in life? You put the systems in place, you put the processes in place. So there's hope. So if you're listening to this, there is hope, because I'll be the first to attest. NATO is doing big things. He's got multiple businesses. He's got a beautiful family. So I'm curious, NATO, where is your focus, time, and energy going today? You're on the podcast today, so we appreciate your time here.
Yeah.
And obviously you're impacting and serving, but where are you spending your time now, and what does that look like?
Yeah, man, I wish I had more time, but it's like a whole bunch of stuff. But I did sell I sold my insurance agency a year ago, and just to focus on more things. And when I look back after I sold my agency, I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do? Like, what do I really like to do? And looking back, like, what really changed my life? What changed my life, man, was starting a business, having that freedom to do whatever I want. I literally the best thing is, man, I get to hang out with my son every single day. Before he goes to school, we chill for like 30 minutes. We hang out. When he gets out of school, we get to hang out. Like, that's dude, that's the best thing ever. Like,
beautiful,
to do whatever I want every day. And when I was younger, I didn't value my time. I didn't value family, but now it's like the most important thing in the world. And for me, and everyone should go watch this. There's a movie called The Gambler, where John Goodman is talking to Mark Wahlberg, and telling him how to get FU money, meaning get enough money where you tell FU to everyone. And I don't have to do anything, man. If someone tells me, hey, bro, you got to do this. No, I don't. I don't have to do anything. I can say FU to you and that's what I want for everyone. Get to a point where you don't have to do anything. You do whatever you want every single day. And I think in order to do that, you have to have financial freedom. In order to get financial freedom, you need to create something. You can do it with a job. That's fine. I think creating a business is the fastest and the best way to do that. And that's what I want to do going forward, is either help people start a business or help people grow their current business. And that's what I'm going to focus on, I think, until probably I die. I don't know.
What does that look like, Nato? Is it like a coaching thing, or is it like a pro? How are you doing that?
So one of the things I'm doing right now, I learned that when I have a program for insurance agents right now, right, where I help them grow and scale their insurance agency. And one of the things that I found was a lot of people didn't have money. They didn't know how to leverage their current credit to get money to grow their business. So it started with insurance agents, where I was like, okay, you can afford my insurance program, which is not cheap, but you have good credit. I know how to get you funding to get not only to buy my program, but also use the money for ads and things like that. Because one of the things we do is Facebook ads, Google ads. I'm big on marketing and paid ads, like huge on that. And then after a while, other business owners were asking, like, well, how do I get money? So what I'm helping people now is like how to get funding to either start your business or grow your business. So that's going to be my thing going forward, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Dude, that's great, man. Is for our listeners and because in audience following, is this something you're only providing insurance agents or to any business owners wanting to? Okay.
No.
Where can they learn more about that?
I mean, just go on Instagram, just find my name, NATO Guajardo. Facebook, same name. I literally haven't even advertised it because I started with just doing it for free for like 5 people, and they had so much success. Like insurance agent, one of my buddies, you know him too. One of my buddies, like last month in a week, we got him $150,000 in like 0% credit. Like, and he's just using it just for paid ads because he wants to grow his business. So, yeah, man, I'll start talking about it. Like, I literally want to get my systems and stuff. Like, I wasn't even going to talk about this on the show, but I wanted to get everything like straight before I started talking about it. But
man, we'll have you back on once that's launched. I think that would be awesome to hear, what you're doing, how you're doing it. Maybe people can pull something from that to help themselves or even get connected with you. But that sounds awesome.
Which, by the way, for those listening, get your credit right. Because even to get business credit, they're going to look at your personal profile. And your personal profile, you got to get it, do whatever it takes to get 700 credit score. I monitor my credit like a hawk now. I didn't think it was important. It's literally the most important thing now. If you want to buy a business, if you want to get funding, they're going to look at that. So get your credit right.
That's great. That's great advice. Yeah.
Fantastic advice. 2 things, brother. And we, again, appreciate your time, energy, and effort today, NATO. It's been a freaking honor having you on, man. And where can our listeners and audience, how can they support you? I know we kind of touched on that, but is there any place that they can follow you, support you?
Yeah, man, just Instagram. I'm going to be doing more things on Instagram here or Facebook. Once in a while, I'll post something on Facebook to help somebody out. But I'm going to be doing more of that. Like, literally, I've been concentrating on this for the past 6 months. I haven't been posting much, but I will be. I mean, and what's kind of sparked it was you guys. You guys like, hey, come talk. I'm like, you know what? I should probably be talking more about this. So this is kind of like this kind of like the start of it.
We'll put your Instagram handle in the show notes and Facebook, all the things.
Cool, man.
Final question: What does level up and live mean to you, brother?
Level up and live. What does that mean to me? Well, I wasn't expecting this question.
It can mean anything.
Here's the thing, man.
Whatever you feel.
Here's what I found. And as you level up, the people around you typically will level up with you. And the ones that don't, they fall off. But here's the thing. It's a good thing. That's a good thing, man. Because the people around you are improving while you're improving. And that's a good thing. So what I would say is just keep improving yourself and people will try to level up to you. And the ones that don't, unfortunately, I'm sorry. They don't, and they might never will. They might never get to that point. So just continue leveling up. People around you will level up with you, and the more you level up, the more people you can help. That's the whole point of everything, right?
That's profound, man. It's deep. People who know how important that is when you level up, man. So yeah, thanks for saying that. Beautiful.
Beautifully said, man. Thanks, NATO.
All right, bro.
Yeah, NATO, thanks, man. Level up and live to everybody out there.
And there you have it, an episode for the history books with the incredible NATO Guajardo. If you've enjoyed today's conversation as much as we did, don't forget to support NATO by following him on social media. You'll find the links in the show notes. But wait, the journey doesn't end here. We have another gym coming your way this Thursday at 5 a.m. Tune in as we gear up and prep for 2024 with insights and strategies you won't want to miss regarding our 3-step recipe to a healthy lifestyle. And here's a special request to our fantastic listeners. Hit that subscribe button so so you never miss an episode. Drop us a review if you loved what you heard, and most importantly, share this episode with someone who needs a dose of inspiration. Until next time, this is Level Up and Live, signing off.